Hey, Rupert.
Hey, Shane.
Good to see you. So, I wanted to ask, how you started getting into what you do.
Yeah, I always enjoyed making things as a kid. My mum used to take me down to this little local joinery shop and I'd just dig through all the offcuts and just start making stuff, really.
So what kind of stuff did you make as a kid? Did you?
As a kid, quite kind of, like tree houses and, and sort of practical things, catapults and go-karts and stuff like that, yeah. And then back in England, I had my own business making sort of conservatories and doors and windows and stuff like that.
As a kid?
Yeah. At the time I was 12,
Do you have a process that you work by?
I would always make models. I think it's quite varied depending on kind of what it is, really, but that seems to be like my process, to get kind of scale, I'll always make models, and I got like little scale kind of cut out men, which I sort of stand up next to the work, and then that gives a real sense of how this is going to work and interact on a human level. Like there's some sort of schools of thought, if you're making work for outdoors, then you should make it outdoors. If you're making work for indoors, you should make it indoors, because that scale can be really played around with. You make something that looks massive in the workshop, you take it out into the middle of a field and it's just like a little tiny thing.
Do you have a particular design philosophy then that you work by?
Yeah, I think it's more of a kind of gut feeling, really. I just, it seems to come from somewhere, I don't know exactly where it is, but there's a kind of a theme that runs through my work of sustainability and kind of a little bit of social commentary in there as well, I suppose, kind of talking about consumerism and the way the world's going and the way people treat and interact with their objects, and this attitude that everybody's become quite accustomed to of just using stuff up and throwing it away, You
take something like a balustrade and you do some quite contemporary things with it. Can you kind of tell me a little bit about it?
Yeah, it kind of came about sort of my last year in my degree, actually, and I was just strolling around a salvage yard somewhere out west, and just saw a whole pile of balustrades. Must have been about 200 of them. I think they were like $2 each or something, so I bought as many as I could afford, which wasn't that many, I think like 30 or something, and took them back to the workshop, and then just kind of, I could kind of see something in them. I was really into making furniture, well, I still am, of course. Kind of started to realise that it wasn't necessarily what was there, it was just as important what wasn't there, what you leave out, that negative space. And then I think I was just playing around on the table saw and I had some left over, and I just kind of thought, what about if I quarter this and turn it inside out? So I did that and then made this kind of top block for it, which was mitered, and then joined them in, and then just kind of stood back from it and was quite pleased with it. And my tutors were like, that's pretty good, actually. So I kind of knew I was sort of onto something with that.
I mean, it sounds like you really enjoy the process of sort of discovery,
Yeah, I really enjoy that, to have that time for experimentation is kind of, I think that's how you get ideas, really, is just by play.
Was that your original intention, to be in a gallery space and be seen more as a sculptor artist than in a furniture store?
I think I've kind of leaned more towards the art side than the sort of design, just because I find it more interesting and more inspiring, really, I suppose. I'm always quite keen to do exhibitions and show your work. It kind of like feels like the completion of the work, in a sense, is when you kind of bring it out and show other people it, because you spent all this time with it by yourself. And then that kind of, it sort of rounds off the process, in a sense, when you display it and sort of exhibit it, it can change the way you feel about it, how people's reactions are to it as well.
So you're quite happy to engage with people when they're interacting with your work?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Sometimes it's quite funny, really, if they don't know that it was me who made it, I just kind of stand by them in an exhibition, listen to what they've got to say about it,
Been nice chatting.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Thanks for making the time.
No worries. Good to see you. Take it easy.